Hello, my name is Kelly Heckman, and I'm the co-founder of FiXiT, a nonprofit dedicated to ending companion animal overpopulation by creating marketing incentive-based strategies to give all pet owners the desire and ability to get their animals spayed and neutered. In this webinar, I'm going to give you some pointers on how to create a perception survey to learn more about your community that you want to target. At this stage in the program, you've probably already done some homework to define your people that you want to target with your spay and neuter program during the assessment lessons. You have used demographic data, shelter and animal control data, and integrated what other organizations have found and assembled an advisory committee to start a dialogue with that community. Hopefully you've already gained some new insight into the mindset of the people that are not spaying and neutering and defining new avenues to change their behaviors. However, there's still more information we can gather to help refine our understanding of the target pet owners, and there is still a lot to learn about the challenges they face when it comes to getting their animals fixed. Remember, we will be using this in order to create a marketing program that will increase demand for surgeries in your community. So we need to determine what benefits of people will respond to and what incentives we might need to consider to change their existing behaviors. Our advisory committee gave us a good first start, but that group is only a small proportion of the population we want to know about. Therefore, we need to expand our effort to paint a more complete picture. But first, we want to start by setting some goals and deadlines. FiXiT went in to test what price point and incentives we could provide to get people to take action. Yours may be different, however. For example, are you considering a mobile spay-neuter unit or a transport program, or lower or no-cost options for specific species, breeds, or other portion of your population? You'll want to make it clear what you want to know to make the best use of this opportunity. The perception survey helps us better define our target and learn more about them. If we think of the community as a whole, we are sampling those that care for animals. Then we can narrow those people down to whether they care for a dog or cat or both. Then within that group of people, we are focusing on those people that do not have their animals spayed and neutered. And finally, if we think of our targets as a dartboard, the bullseye is people that haven't spayed and neutered their animals because of issues that we define as low-hanging fruit, those that are easy to reach. Some of these include not knowing where to go, thinking that the surgery is expensive, or thinking that the animal is too young. So what can we offer the low-hanging fruit to get them to spay and neuter their animals? With more perspective of your pet owners, you begin to address the patterns of behavior that prevent them from spaying and neutering their animals. Find ways to overcome some of these obstacles. How can we turn these reasons on their sides to make them see the value of spay and neuter? For example, more people alter cats than dogs. This is data from the Gulf States study conducted by Humane Society of the United States. 75% of cats are fixed, but only 50% of dogs. But this is true all over the country. So already we know that there's some benefit people see to fixing a cat that doesn't apply to fixing a dog. So you can ask, what is it about cats that make people more likely to take action than for dogs? Is it something about the cat behavior, the perceived cost, or is it perceived to be harder to get rid of kittens than puppies? Knowing this can be possibly important and get even more people to fix cats, or apply to dogs as well. Once you know how many people you need to survey, you'll need to set some goals. You will need to line up some surveyors so that you are not dependent on any one person for the majority of the project. This was our goal sheet on St. Croix. We estimated that we would make contact with 25 people an hour and get a completed survey for 10 of those people. Obviously, this depends on the amount of traffic in your location and how long your survey takes to complete. You will need to optimize both of these. Our goal was to reach 1,250 people using 5 different surveyors. Ultimately, these numbers changed as one of our surveyors was not so great and another was exceptional. You can see also that we paid for our surveys. Most likely you will not be able to find reliable help with some initiative. We paid $2 for every completed survey, which equaled to about $20 an hour if a surveyor was meeting our goals. We were on a mission with no patience for island time, so we set some goals and deadlines for our project. It kept both our and our surveyors' expectations in sync, reducing a potential source of frustration. Let's map out some big accomplishments for this survey project. We need to write the survey, test it on an advisory committee, find and train surveyors, complete surveys, enter data, and analyze data. Estimate how much time each is going to take. This will vary depending on how many people you have involved For example, the amount of time to write the survey may be as little as an hour if you choose to modify the FiXiT example or have one person focusing in on it. Or if you choose to gather a small writing committee, it might take a week of passing it back and forth. This may also be more than one of these individual project goals going on at any given moment, which could reduce the total project time. For example, if you are having your teams send surveys in as they go along or using online resources to collect information, you could be entering data during the surveying period. Having these goals will keep you and your team on track and get you the data to move forward with your overall marketing program quickly. So now you need to develop some of the meat of the survey. You'll want your survey to flow easily with well-written questions and answers. This will take the form of a short survey to be given in person within your target community. You will get a better sense of how many people care for dogs and cats, how many people have already spayed or neutered their pets, and then get to ask some important questions to those that haven't, such as why, what factors could change their behavior, would provide incentives such as transportation, lower costs, or benefits be likely to make them take action. This will be a big project, so you want to make sure you get all the information that you want from it. There's always going to be something you'd wished you'd asked. I've thought of tens, if not hundreds of new questions throughout the duration of the Final Fix project. But start with the basics because we want to keep this short, no more than 4 to 5 minutes. It will help keep your surveyor motivated if they are accomplishing a lot, and the participants are less likely to rush through it. You can always include new questions while integrating surveys and other interaction points with clients, such as when they call for making appointments. We found that it was much more efficient to make this a verbal survey and not a written. This provides several benefits, such as making it more time efficient, repeating the question with different wording if they don't understand some of the language, and interpreting the best meaning from open-ended questions. By asking a question open-ended, it takes away some of the potential to choose what you think they want within the list of answers. You will need a short introduction, just a sentence or two, to set expectations about the survey length and estimate the time it will take someone to complete. This is a bit of a sales pitch to get people to take the survey, so it should be brief and to the point, as should the whole survey. Include a reason why you are performing the survey, and that their answers are confidential. Start your survey off with an easy question, something that people would be less likely to walk away from, such as, do you care or own a dog or cat? You might even ask the question first before your 1 to 2 sentence intro. There's a lot of strategy involved getting people to participate, and half the battle is getting their attention in the first place. If people say no to this first question of whether they own or care for animals, we don't want to waste a whole piece of paper on that response, so we gave our surveyors a separate sheet to keep track of this and other short-ended responses that gave us a way of recording what the surveyor was finding. This is very important information because we could otherwise not estimate the proportion of people taking care of animals. But once you have a person willing to participate, begin to narrow the questions to determine if they are part of your target community. Ask about how many animals, whether their animals are fixed. We'll come back to the language considerations for that. Understand if all, some, or none of their animals are fixed. Getting more information about which types of animals that aren't fixed is great too, such as whether male or female, certain dog breeds or size make a difference. You'll be using this information to form messaging to convince people that spay and neuter brings the benefit to them, but it is also important data to determine the impact on your work to the community, and that is important for generating grant funds. Questions about income, occupation, finances, family, personal, political, or religious beliefs can be too intrusive and rejected by the respondent. If these are questions that you are interested in, leave these for last so that you get them through the majority of the survey first. For us, we asked people about their age and noted their sex. We did not ask people about family, income, or other personal matters. In developing your survey, make sure you cover all possible answers, consult our work and others, and even update the survey as you go to keep it complete. This will keep your results nice and tidy and easy for you to code later on. We forgot to add that the animal was too young as a reason for not spaying and neutering, which is the #1 reason people typically give in other group surveys. We made up for it in future survey work, but we learned a lesson to be more thorough with our possible answers. We use skip logic to advance through the survey so that not everyone answered all of the questions. This allows the survey to proceed through a logical flow. For example, if someone says they want to breed, then asking them if they are interested in free transportation to a clinic is probably not a useful question. Try to remain balanced in your language and not suggestive or leading. For example, the question, would you be more likely to spay or neuter if transportation was available to reduce animals dying in shelters, contains leading language that persuades the participant to choose one answer over the other. A better choice would be more likely to spay or neuter if transportation was available. Make sure to take the survey yourself, have others take it, include the advisory committee to take it, and then your surveyors. Ask people to share their opinions for keeping it balanced, improve flow, and provide all possible answers. If you are targeting a community that is unfamiliar to you, or you are obviously an outsider to, we recommend using local surveyors. They will have an easier time to get people to cooperate. Respondents might be more likely to give their true opinion and not one they think you want to hear, and the language will be more familiar with them. We're not talking about English versus Spanish, although that might be an issue as well. All people have a different way of talking within their own communities, including slang and accents that make them feel more familiar with the person asking the questions. For example, on St. Croix, a lesson that we learned was that people don't use the term spay and neuter. They were also unfamiliar with the term fix. Some people use the term cut, as in I need to get my female cut. There was also a balancing act during the surveys to use a variety of options until the person understood what we were asking. Sometimes castrate, sometimes spaded, sometimes just saying that the surgery to have no more puppies. Another big one was, do you own or care for or feed animals? Lots of people don't want to be responsible for the animals to say they own it, but have the habit of giving it food on a regular basis. We had to keep this in mind when initiating the survey with people. Make sure you are aware of any language barriers in your community and share these lessons among your surveyors so they are not biasing your results or losing valuable information. Communicate with your surveyors often. Give them the job of making sure that the survey is working. Find local surveyors in similar places as you found your advisory committee, or use the committee as a resource itself. Places like churches, schools, or community clubs, or put flyers up in local businesses. If necessary, place help wanted ads in local papers. During the survey on St. Croix, each person was given a territory in order to reach as many people as possible. We chose to focus on retail areas, but gave our surveyors flexibility to branch out if the opportunity arose. 2 of our surveys went to high school athletic events to get their numbers, big crowds in a relaxed situation, which was great. Practice your survey with all of your team, making sure that they have it nearly memorized so that they can go through it with impatient respondents in the field. Any break in the flow may give your potential participant an out in the conversation. Also, if your surveyor is quick, they can get through their task quicker, a win-win situation. So now you're ready to go collect some data. I would recommend going with your surveyors on the first run to make sure they really do understand the flow, make sure they are respectful of other people, and not leading their answers in any way. Also, you can increase or reduce the sample size based on some early results. Say you want to focus on dog owners, you'll need to recalculate your sample size based on the proportion of dog owners in your community. And then for the next lesson, we can discuss what to do with all that data. But just for fun, I want you to predict what you think will be the most common reason people respond to the question, what is the main reason you have not spayed or neutered your pet in your target community? Do you think it's going to be expense, the animal is too young, it's unnatural, desire to breed, don't have time? I look forward to hearing about what you predict and then what the actual answers will be. Learn more about FiXiT, SMART, and other programs we have to reduce the number of animals euthanized in shelters every year at fixit-foundation.org, or join the conversation on our various social media platforms.